What's up, people? Welcome to week 2 of the spring semester in January, where it's definitely not feeling like spring. Welcome back. Look, I'm a man of my word. What did I say? I said I was going to get a haircut, and I did. Look, the forehead, the movie screen, it's being hidden. Done. So, I hope you had a great first week. And we're back for week 2. Today's Friday, and I'm pretty sure I'm actually going to post this on Friday. Sometimes I record them on Friday and I would post them on Monday, but Monday's a holiday. Monday is MLK Day, which is great. Hopefully, y'all are off doing something. It's supposed to be like a service day, where you serve other people on that day. I'm serving my sister by watching her kids on that day. So, I want to go ahead and post this on Friday in the case that you wanted to get started or watch this sooner. If you maybe some of you like working on Sundays at home, and so this way you can maybe view this on a Sunday. I won't always post videos early. Sometimes I just won't be able to record it on a Friday. I won't be able to record it until Monday and then post it on Monday. Sometimes I might not post it until Tuesday. I'm not guaranteeing you any consistency on times and days when I post my lectures. The only consistency is that I will post a lecture, unless it is deep into the course and like sometimes when working on like SA2 or SA3, if I feel like I've taught everything that you need to know and I'm just giving you time to work on your essay and to print it off, I mean, not print it off, but to like get it edited and posted and stuff, I might not have a lecture. But definitely for the first 8-9 weeks, there will be lectures. They won't always be posted early, but some weeks they will be. Like this week. Fantastic. All right, so let's look at what you're doing this week. Okay, so this is our stuff. This is our list of assignments and due dates, which everyone should be keeping track of and making sure that you are following and that you are looking at and that you are referring back to. Okay, this is everything that you did last week. Or maybe some of you are, if you're watching this on a Friday, then maybe some of you are finishing this up, whatever. The welcome quiz. I will be putting in no-shows Sunday or Monday morning for all those people who have not shown any signs that they have logged in. Okay, so you need to make sure that you've completed the welcome quiz, so that way you don't get dropped from the class. Okay, so this week I'm going to talk officially about Unit 1 because this week we're officially starting the readings of the stories. I'm going to talk about these topics right here. I want to talk about parts of a paragraph and integrating quotes. All right, this is going to be a little bit of literature based and a little bit of writing based. Okay, so and then these are the assignments that you're going to do this week, which I will go over everything today in this lecture. Cool. Okay. So here's our announcements. Go to lessons, go to week 2. Okay. Here are the links to the assignments and the things you're going to read. I've not posted this yet as of this video, but by the time I post this video, you will also see here a PDF copy of this week's notes. Okay, I'm gonna go over this PowerPoint in class today, and then I'm gonna have this downloadable as a PDF, so you can refer back to anything I say, anything I've written here. So like as I go through this lecture, you don't necessarily have to write notes down because this PowerPoint will be posted here. Okay. So you'll see that. The things you're going to read this week, which I'll talk about later, are all right here. Okay. So everything you need for week 2 is in the week 2 lessons. Week 2. Boom. Right there. Okay. This week you'll have written assignments to complete. This one right here is a written assignment. So make sure that you use the MLA template. I would download the template if I was you. And then I would just do assignment 4. So I would here just write assignment 4. The due date is always the Monday. So this is the 22nd. So due date 2/2 January 2024. Okay. I think I'm gonna put your first last name. Oh yeah, you can put my name. Buyers. Ing 1102. All right. So now you already have your MLE, and then you can just save it as assignment 4. So you already have your MLA formatted set up right there for assignment 4. Okay. And then every week you can open up, download a new one of these, save it as that assignment, and boom, you're ready to go. Okay. All right. So let's get into the notes. Let's get to the notes. Let's get into, let's see here. Oops, no. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I just realized something. I am going to add these transitions. 1 second. Okay, sorry. I had just realized that I did not add the transitions, and I'm like big in transitions. I like to have my one thing pop at a time, so I had to do that real fast. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, okay. So part 1, unit 1, human, all too human. That's my title. All right. The road to self begins in the source. What's the source? That's you. You're the source. I'm the source. I'm the source of me. Okay. So the road to myself begins in me. All right. So unit 1, understanding ourselves. In this unit, we are going to be reading literature that is written from a main character's perspective of themselves, mostly. Okay. And in that, while we are learning, while we are watching them learn things about themselves, from them, we're learning about ourselves as well. Okay. Practicing self-awareness is about learning to better understand why you feel what you feel and why you behave in a particular way. Having this awareness gives you the opportunity and freedom to change things about yourself, enabling you to create a life that you want. I'm big on reading literature and watching stuff that helps me to understand myself better. Okay. Literature in the form of stories, poetry, drama, film, music, nonfiction, and novels are all mediums that can help us understand ourselves and what we want out of life. I think that it's a understanding who we are, uniquely individual, will help us to better relate and understand the people in our lives, whether that is your family or your future partners or your children or your friends or your bosses. Okay. Reading about other people's experiences can help us understand other people better, and finding ways to relate to a diverse set of characters and situations can teach us not only about others, but also new ways of seeing ourselves. I think that I'm really big on human engagement and trying to ease human interactions and relationships. I think that a lot of our problems come from either uh, us not understanding other people or other people not understanding us. And a lot of conflict arises that way. And so if we can try to be more empathetic and then also more forgiving of ourselves, then we can have a better world. Okay. And so we're going to look at literature that way, especially in reference to Unit 1. Okay. So one of the vehicles that we're going to use to try to like understand ourselves and other people in the world better is to think about philosophy. Looking at philosophy and thinking about how many of the stories that we read, what kind of philosophy are they sort of sharing or expressing? Okay. So philosophy is an activity people undertake when they seek to understand fundamental truths about themselves, the world in which they live, and their relationships to the world and to each other. Um, Now, why does this matter? Why am I really talking to you about this? Okay. Well, because essay 1, the first essay that you are going to be writing in a couple of weeks, is going to be connecting a philosophy to literature. This course is not just about writing. It's about writing about things that you've read and trying to discuss those ideas. So you are going to write a paper, not this week. We're planning ahead. This is just so you understand that like everything we do in this unit is leading up to this first essay. Okay. I like to keep things in a big picture perspective. Like, what is the big picture? What are you going to be achieving? What are all these individual activities that we're doing leading up to? And to me, that develops, motivation and the reasoning. Okay. So at the end of this unit, you're going to be writing a paper about a school of philosophy and how it relates to one of the stories that we read in Unit 1 and how it relates to you on a personal level. This first essay is going to have at least 3 longer paragraphs where you explain a philosophy, you explain how that philosophy relates to one of the stories that we've read, and then how that philosophy will relate to you on a personal level. Okay. And you will be doing research on this philosophy. And so like we'll be doing the readings of the books, of the short stories in class. Everybody's reading the same short stories. And so everyone will be writing about one of the short stories that we've all read in class, virtual class. Okay. But you will also be conducting your own research, your own learning on a school of philosophy, on a type of philosophy. I'm about to go over some of them. Okay. And you will be then reporting on what you have learned, what you've discovered, and you'll be applying that to the stories that we read. So while everybody's going to be writing on the same story, one of the same stories that we've all done in class, your papers will be very unique because every single person will then be picking their own philosophy. That could be there's tons of them out there that you are going to be discussing. Okay. So like a few schools of philosophy for essay 1. Some of you can take one of these and expand upon it. So there's existentialism, which is like my favorite, and that's something that we're going to talk about today. Existentialism essentially asks the question, what is the point of living life if life has no inherent purpose? Where can we find value after the death of God? And how do we face the knowledge of our inevitable demise? So there's a lot of different existentialists. Some existentialists are atheists. Some believe that God forever was sort of a concept that we use to help keep people in line. But then after World War I and II, that essentially annihilated any idea of like this unifying idea of keeping people together and on the right path. So like now what do we do? And then there are some people, as we'll talk about in a little bit, there are Christian existentialists who feel like God's there and then we're here on earth and now we got to figure out, God's not coming out and telling us exactly how to be living our lives. And so we have to figure out, what do we do on this earth? And then there are people who believe that, again, there is no God and that we are just an advanced creature that's on this earth and there is no actual meaning And so we need to come up with our own personal meanings. Then there's Stoicism. This is the idea at the heart of it. The idea at the heart of it is acceptance of all things that are beyond your control. Pain will pass, you will remain. So the best thing to do is focus on what you can control. What can you do to what do you have power over, and letting go of the things that you don't have power over. Hedonism. Pleasure or happiness is the one thing that with intrinsic value. I don't know anything other than what gives me pleasure or happiness. So that's what I'm going to go with. Okay. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, like I know for me, like in my 40s, right? I get more pleasure out of drinking caffeine than I do of drinking booze and alcohol, because caffeine keeps me awake and going, and the next day I feel good. I feel fine. Booze and alcohol, if I'm just like pounding back the drinks, the next day I'm gonna feel like crap. A hangover and dehydration are signs that what you're doing is actually not giving you true happiness or pleasure. So hedonism really looks at, like, how do you devise the best possible long lasting happy life in pursuing those things. Then we have these Marxism, critiques of capitalism, such as the idea that the capitalist mode of production alienates us from the results of our labor. So that's like, like anti-commercialism. There's a great song by The Clash called Lost in the Supermarket. And it's about this man who he is trying to, he's reminiscing on his childhood and how he was happy when he was a kid, and he had a sense of being. And so now as an adult, he is kind of lost. And so he goes to the supermarket because he thinks maybe like he can buy himself an identity. Maybe like here, it seems so happy, and they're advertising that, like, oh, if you get this, you'll be happy. But ultimately, like, all this stuff that is being advertised to us is not actually making him happy. And that people, they think they're buying an identity by ascribing to some sort of material existence. And in fact, those things, those commodities, are actually really empty. So, like, that's sort of a Marxist idea, this false sense of consumership, and that people living in a, with a fake persona. So then there's Taoism, which is based around the ideas of humility, the way, a focus on the individual, simplicity, and naturalness, and like being one with your environment, and letting things go, and not carrying on and like holding on to anger and frustration and resentments, because those things will just burden you. And so trying to let go of it. Or like what the great song, I do see the word a lot through songs. U2, they have a great song called Walk On. And it's about it's walk on and leave it all behind. Leave the baggage, the emotional baggage, the hurts, all those things, leave those behind you and walk on. And then relativism. Relativism is the idea that views are relative to perspective or considerations. This idea can even be applied to morality or truth itself. Some arguing then that there are no moral facts or absolute truths, and that, like, this is a lot through experience, and that we build meaning through experience, and that, like, we have to, we don't really know anything until we have experienced it, and how we might think something is one way until we have experienced it, and then we don't accept the common idea of something if it did not sit well with us. Okay, these are just a few of them that you could choose from. And there's tons of websites out there about different schools of thought for philosophy. You are going to find one that you find interesting, and one that you think you can relate to one of our stories, and then you will write about it in a couple of weeks. Again, this is not now, okay, at all. What time is it? Okay, I got 20 minutes. All right. One of these two guys right here if I was going to be doing this, I might talk about existentialism, okay, because I really like these guys, Soren Kierkegaard and John Paul Sartre. And you are going to read a piece this week by this guy right here, this Frenchman, okay? This is Sartre. And so I don't think I have time to go really into Kierkegaard, but I do really like him because like he's a Christian existentialist, and his whole idea is that like God is in heaven, but I'm on earth. How do I handle freedom and uncertainty? And how that fills them with a lot of kind of anxiety and this like, am I doing the right thing? And this is where faith comes in, and faith is really hard in this kind of world and stuff. And he's something that I really like, which is a complete opposite of Sartre. Even though I like Sartre a lot, but Sartre is a total atheist. Did not believe in God. He did not believe in a meaning or that life itself, that we're here for a purpose. None of that. But that while we're not here for a divine purpose, there's not a big creator. It is our responsibility to find our meaning and purpose. Okay. So this is going to relate to what one thing that you're going to read this week. Okay. So bear with me here. He believed in that there is this idea of being with a lowercase b and being with a capital B. Being with a lowercase b is merely just going through the motions of life, eating, sleeping, working, and living passively, just going through life, like whatever, okay? Not putting much effort into it at all. And then there's being with a capital B, a proper noun, where you are choosing how you will live. You're choosing how your life will go and actively living your life. You are seeking out pleasures and purpose and meaning and wanting to make a difference. Okay. He was part of the French resistance during World War II. He wrote for a underground rebel newsletters and stuff, and he helped. He was kind of like a spy, acting like a regular citizen, but really actually part of the resistance in Paris. Cool dude. Okay, so he's going to relate to one of the things that you're going to do this week. Okay, this week you're reading a story. Actually, it's a chapter from a memoir called "As a Woman." This is by Paula Stone. Paula Stone is a trans woman who wrote a book about her life as Paul and Paul's development and transition into Paula. And so Paula writes, and she goes back and forth between talking about when she was Paul and what Paul was experiencing, okay, and how she felt when she was Paul in his childhood. And so this chapter that you're going to read is from when Paula writes about when she was a teenager and sort of, and even actually younger than that, and going to camp, and when she's really realizing how she identifies, how she started to identify as a woman as a very young kid. Okay, so you're going to read that. Then you're going to read Outsider by Trevor Noah, and this comes from his memoir. He writes about his time growing up in South Africa during apartheid and his experiences with that. Then you're going to read Sartre's Waiter. This is actually a short little comic, okay? And it's illustrated. It's simple. Paula Stone's piece will take you a while because it's a longer PDF. Noah's is like maybe 2 or 3 pages. It's a PDF, and then Sartre's is really short. It's like 2 pages. Okay, you are going to read all 3 of these. All 3 of these. Now, Sartre's Waiter is not on the list of assignments and due date sheet originally. Originally, I was going to go over it in the PowerPoint, but I decided not to. I decided to just post it. So with that in mind, I want you to make sure that you read it, all right, this week. It's posted with all these other ones. And then you're going to complete assignment 4, which I'll go over in a moment. Assignment 4 deals with all 3 of these. Okay. So this is assignment 4 right here. Here we go. In a minimum 300-word response, apply the concept of Sartre's Waiter philosophy of radical freedom to Paula's identity. So you are connecting As a Woman by Paula Stone, and you're connected to Sartre's Waiter. Okay. So that's how those two are related. Be sure to discuss the social obstacles that impacted her ability to express herself openly. Okay. This is assignment 4. Then you're going to, in a minimum 300-word response, use one of your sources from assignment 3 from last week to relate it to Trevor Noah's experience in high school. If none of your sources from assignment 3 can be related to his piece, then find an article online that relates how he tried to fit in and make friends when he was in high school. Include the citation of the article at the bottom of your document. So you will have to go back to your week 1 assignment on the finding sources. And you were supposed to find some sources that deal with how adolescents create their own identities separate from their parents, or the realization of sexual identity, or how identity can conflict with social expectations, how surroundings can impact identity, how gender norms can impact identity. Okay. Hopefully one of those that you found relates to Trevor Noah's piece. And so you were going to connect that assignment to this assignment as well. Okay. So that's the work. You're reading all 3 of these, and they are all posted. Go to week 2. They're all posted right here. As a Woman, Outsider, Sartre's Waiter. Okay. PDF, and this. So this week, you don't even need the textbook this week. You don't even need it. Okay. So if you ordered it and it's coming late and it hasn't showed up yet, that's okay. Everything you're doing this week is already posted for you. All right. Now, in these assignments, you're going to have to insert some quotes. I want you to actually try to integrate some quotes. So I'm going to go over that right now. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you about how do you make sure how you write college level responses, and how to integrate quotes. I have 13 minutes to do this. So I'm going to go as far as I can before the bell rings, and then I'm going to have to, call it short, but I'll still post all these notes for you to read through them yourself. Okay. So constructing college level written responses. First part of a paragraph. Claim. Okay. There are 3 parts total to a paragraph. The first part of your paragraph is a claim, which is the main idea of the paragraph. It's like one sentence. It's one sentence that essentially tells your reader exactly what the paragraph is about. It is the one sentence that essentially it's the only sentence that the reader needs to know. The rest of the paragraph is just proving or supporting that claim. Okay. Every paragraph should be able to be reduced to just the claim. All right. That's the main idea. Everything else is additional information to convince. And that's about 20% of your paragraph. The second part of your paragraph is support, contextual support, quotes, references, summary, proof. Okay. You made a claim, and now you need to prove it by showing some evidence of this. Okay. This shows what part of the text you are discussing, and it serves as evidence. And this should be about 30% of your paragraph. I like to look at percentages of lines, not sentences, lengths of lines. If you have a 10-line response, that might be 10 sentences. That might be 2 sentences. That might be 5 sentences. I don't know. It's a long response. It's 10 lines. So like 3 of those lines can be a quote. can be some sort of contextual support. And then the third part of a paragraph, the last 50% of the paragraph, is all analysis, which is explanation. Okay, this is where you explain how the proof supports your claim and proves it. Some people think that they can make a claim and provide some evidence and then be done with it and be like, look, it's self-evident. Look, the evidence proves it. So there, it's obvious. But you cannot do that. The most important part of your paragraph is your explanation. And that's where you win or lose in the statement you're trying to make. Okay. Tell your reader how they need to understand the information. Everything discussed here needs to go back to the claim and evidence. Whatever you're explaining, it needs to be explaining how this evidence proves this claim. Okay? So I'm going to show you an example of this. All right, it's one paragraph. Here we go. Our topic is, what is the theme of Mulan? Next week, we're going to really be talking about theme. Okay, but for now, here we go. What is the theme of Mulan? And if you haven't seen that movie, that's okay. So here's my sample paragraph. Okay, this is one paragraph. This is it. Here's what I've written. In the film Mulan, the theme is that women should be seen as equal and respected on the battlefield as much as men. In the movie, when Mulan's kingdom is threatened by the invasion of the Huns, the men are called to war. Mulan wants to serve too, but she is denied because of her gender. Therefore, she disguises herself as a male in order to fulfill her destiny to be a great warrior. Mulan is confident in her strength and courage as a warrior, but the male-dominated and sexist society that she lives in prohibits her from fighting. Even though by surviving and thriving in the war, she proves that women can be as equal or more so than men in war. Although the film doesn't explicitly show people being killed, because there are battles fought, it can be understood that people do in fact die in these battles, yet Mulan survives. And if it is understood that she is the only woman fighting in this war, then that means she, a woman, has been more dominant in battle than many other male soldiers. With her rising political power as being a princess, combined with the self-assurance in believing that women can handle battle, she will be a mighty influence in her kingdom at leveling the field of respect paid toward women in battle and society. Boom! There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines, with a little bit of an 11th line. Okay? So what is the claim of the Mulan paragraph? What's the claim of this one? Well, if the claim is in the right place, it's the first sentence. In the film Mulan, the theme is that women should be seen as equal and respected on the battlefield as much as men. Okay, so that's our claim. They should be seen and respected. They should be seen as equals, okay? And they should be equally respected on the battlefield. So then next is the supports. What is the supports for this paragraph? Well, here there's the sentence, or sentences. In the movie, when Mulan's kingdom is threatened by the invasion of the Huns, the men are called to war. Mulan wants to serve too, but she's denied because of her gender. Therefore, she disguises herself as a male in order to fulfill her destiny to be a great warrior. If you saw this, if you've seen the movie, you know that this is just straight from the movie. This is all summary. Mulan's kingdom is threatened. The Huns, they go to war. She wants to serve. This is not deep. This is not analytical. This is just straight summary of the movie. And then we have analysis. All the next part is analyzing what this means. Okay. And this is what it looks like. If this is the complete paragraph, these are the 3 parts of the paragraph. Here's the claim. In the film Mulan, the theme is that women should be seen as equal and respected on the battlefield as much as men. Okay. And then we have our support. And then all of this is analysis. Mulan is confident in her strength and courage. That's interpretation. She never says that in the movie. This is we can interpret that she is confident in these things. Okay. The male-dominated and sexist society, that's interpretation. At no point in the film does it say, Mulan lives in a male-dominated and sexist society. This is interpretation. Okay. She proves that women can be as equal or more so than men in war. And this is based on just the sheer fact that she survives and does well in the war. Okay. We don't actually see people being killed, but she survives. So this must mean that she's a good warrior. This is all interpretation. This is all interpretation and explanation. That's it. Okay. So we have 10 lines. One line is one of those is the claim. Two of them is the support, and the rest is all analysis, which is the way your paragraphs should be written. Claim, support, and then analysis, explanation. Okay. Now you should try to integrate some quotes into your paper. And you're going to be using quotes in your paper. You got to use quotes in your papers. Okay. And so I want you to try using some quotes in the first assignment. Using, of course, assignment 4 needs to be set up with proper MLA formatting, which if you download the MLA template, then it's pretty easy for you to fill it all out like I've already shown you. Okay. Now, one thing I would do want to say is that I think that while technically MLA formatting has you use align left, I like to use justify. Once the title has been centered and you go to the next line, I think you should hit justify, because to me it makes more beautiful. It makes better balanced paragraphs. Okay. So in your response, you are going to be writing about the Paula piece and the Trevor Noah piece. Okay. Now both of them have different titles. So like Trevor Noah's piece, if you're familiar with his book is called Born a Crime. But the chapter that you read is The Outsider. Okay. Those two things are, even though they're both titles, they're written differently. If you refer to his book, Born a Crime, that's going to be written in one way, versus if you refer to the chapter, The Outsider, that's written a different way. Okay. So listen here. And I tell you that because for essay 1, you're going to be writing about some short stories. But if you quote something from a book, then you're going to be writing the title of that book differently than the title of a short story. Because look, titles of short stories, poems, articles, songs, or episodes of TV shows go inside of quotation marks. Story of an Hour, The Road Not Taken, Understanding Chopin, Bertha, great Grateful Dead song. Okay. Titles of books, films, magazines, newspapers, albums, TV shows are written in italics. Mindhunter is a TV show and a book. Star Wars is a movie. It's a film. American Beauty is the title of a fantastic Grateful Dead album. The New York Times is a newspaper. Rolling Stone is a magazine. The Outsider, which is not Trevor Noah. Oh, I should have deleted this one. This Outsider is by Richard Wright, and it's a novel. When you are writing the titles of the short stories, okay, this is incorrect. If you use a comma, the comma goes inside of quotation marks. Inside, correction, okay? This is correct. This is incorrect. I'm going to run out of time to go over all this. So these are things that you will need to read and to look at, okay? This is incorrect. Comma goes inside the quotation mark. Okay? If you are quoting, if you take a quote from the book, I couldn't believe that she died from a heart condition. This period needs to be inside the quotation mark. Okay? This is incorrect. This example is incorrect. Correction. Period, quotation mark. Comma, quotation mark. Punctuation goes inside of quotation marks. Okay. I'm gonna go over it in text citations later because we don't have time for that. Okay. So for this week, I would like for you to try to use a quote in your paper. I mean, in your assignment 4, okay? Understand this. You cannot use what are called drop quotes. Drop quotes are quotes that stand by themselves as complete sentences. You cannot do that. You cannot have a quote that's a complete sentence by itself. Okay? Those are incorrect. You always have to use what's called a signal phrase to lead into a quote. A quote cannot be a sentence all its own. Okay? No quotation should stand by itself as a separate sentence. So, like this is incorrect. There are many examples of self-analysis in Plato's philosophy, period. Quotation mark. The unexamined life is not worth living. That is incorrect because it is not integrated. Okay. Instead, here we have this one. Plato thinks people should analyze their own lives because, quotation mark, the unexamined life is not worth living. Quotation mark, period. Okay. So you have to integrate all your quotes. If you use a quote on the work this week, you need to integrate it. Here, I've provided you ways to do that. Okay. So here's some examples of a quote that I take and I break it down and I punctuate it and modify it, and then I integrate it into this paragraph. This is an example. So take a look at that and give it a try. Okay. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. All right. Please be sure to read through the notes. And if you have any questions this week about the work, please email me. Okay. I'm here to help you. Okay. Bye-bye.